So I was going through the video I made and posted in the last week of 2025. I think it was the last day actually. And I have to laugh at myself because a lot happened. I mean, in the first week of January. You know those memes of like 2026 is gonna be my year, and then it's kind of the state I'm in. Today I'm alright. It's been a week since my mom passed, and I've been kind of numb because there are rituals to get through, there are important discussions commencing, hence the state I'm in. However, I was talking to a friend about this actually. Someone came over and we were talking about how like, oh, I'll get through this, you know, it's a difficult period of time, but it'll be different, and I'll get over it and whatnot. And I feel like literature is proof that every one of these emotions that we are feeling, others have felt before and have gotten through, and surely I'll get through this. Anyway, I finished reading Agua Viva, Clarice Lispector. I think she's Brazilian, yes? I think she's Brazilian. And I wanted to share my favorite parts. Just a few quotes that I really liked. So this is in like a stream of consciousness genre. Is that a genre, a method of writing? But it's wonderful because I feel like I've been through every emotion possible while reading this, because I think half of it I read when I was traveling solo after a long time. Not very far, just to Chennai, but I felt so alive, and then I felt like I was surrounded by death, by grieving all of a sudden. And so this, I don't know, the way it's written, the way it flows is scary and kind of haunting, because it feels like I am feeling everything even before I get to that sentence. And then when I get to that sentence, it's like this catharsis. I don't really know how to explain it too well. But is my theme the instant, the theme of my life? I try to keep up with it. I divide thousands of times into as many times as the number of instants running by, fragmented as I am, and the moments so fragile. My only vow is to life born with time and growing along with it. Only in time itself is there room enough for me. And apparently Clarice Lispector was very wary of publishing this. I think I read this in like the little preface beforehand. I can't publish it as it is. Either I'm not going to publish it or I'm going to work on it. Maybe a few months. So yeah, so she was hesitant to publish this because of how not structured it is. But she says, so what's the harm from moving away from logic? I deal in raw materials. I'm after whatever is lurking beyond thought. No use of trying to pin me down. I simply slip away and won't allow it. No label will stick. I'm entering a very new and a genuine chapter, curious about itself. So appealing and personal that I can't paint it or write it. It's like moments I had with you, when I would love you. Moments I couldn't go past because I descended into their depths. It's a state of touching the surrounding energy and I shudder. Some mad mad harmony. And I feel like, it's so wonderful. Then there is, for I want to feel in my hands the quivering and lively nerve of the now, and may that nerve resist me like a restless vein, and may it rebel, that nerve of life, and may it contort and throb, and may sapphires, amethysts, and emeralds spill into the dark eroticism of abundant life, because in my darkness quakes at last the great topaz, word that has its own light. There's a focus also on words themselves, the very act of writing. And I love writing about writing, and I love reading about reading and reading about writing. I think it's very, very fascinating. It's almost like an experiment of like watching yourself, and it can be scary because it feels like you have an audience, even if you don't, and suddenly you're being held accountable for your passion, held accountable for whatever discipline you may have or not have. And I definitely felt her trying to rebel against discipline, but she kept coming back to the page in order to start again, renew herself, and renew the idea of her, because life itself is constantly changing. She says, what I am writing is the music of the air, the formation of the world. Slowly what will be approaches, what will be already is. The future is ahead and behind, and to either side. The future is what always existed and what always will exist. Even if time is abolished, what I'm writing to you is not for reading, it's for being. And I think that's something she does excellently, is to be amongst these pages. She is just being, and being is violent. Being demands so much attention, because it is not just breathing, it is experiencing that breath, it is focusing on that breath, it is being thankful for that breath and dreading that breath and regretting that breath, and you focus on it and you focus on it until you feel like you're at the crux of something. But the struggle is that you'll always just be on that crux. You will never go beyond. And this is an experiment of trying to go beyond. It's very, very interesting. She says, I am creating myself, and walking in complete darkness in search of ourselves is what we do. It hurts. But these are the pains of childbirth. A thing is born that is itself. It is hard as a dry stone, but the core is soft and alive, perishable, perilous. Life of elementary matter. It reminded me of Emily Dickinson saying, I'm out with the lantern looking for myself. But the self is so malleable. Is that the word? It's different. It's like they say, you don't bathe in the same river twice. It's constantly changing. With every sentence I'm saying, I am a different person. She says, now it is an instant. Do you feel it? I do. It's desperate, and I love it. I love it so much. And when all is dark, when I read these words, the ones I'm about to read you, it's so reassuring and so empowering. And I think this has really empowered me. This piece of literature has really empowered me. One second. I guess I do need to be reminded that I can't live in here. But I was saying that it was very, very empowering to read this, because I feel like there is this silence that is around every one of my family members right now, because grief is very strange. It's very strange and complicated. And to read this and to have hope is stranger, because it feels like the only normal way to live right now is to be sad. And while reading this, I'm empowered to avenge something. I don't understand it myself, but Clarice Lispector says, I want to die with life. I swear that I shall only die, profiting from the last instant. There is a profound prayer within me that will be born I don't know when. I would so like to die of health. Like someone exploding. Éclater is better. J'éclate. For now there's dialogue with you. Then it will be monologue. Then the silence. I know that there will be an order. And there is this authority she has over time that I think, of course, I think writers master it with, like, let's say with poetry. I feel like the cliche example of that would be like line breaks. But the way she exercises time and the instant, as she calls it, is, I don't know, she's mastered it, in my opinion. I feel hurried when she's hurrying. I feel my heart racing. And the fact that words on a page can do that is crazy. And I don't understand how we can't nerd over that. Anyway, she says, I trust in my own incomprehension that gives me life free of understanding. I lost friends. I don't understand death. The horrible duty is to go to the end and counting on no one. To live your life yourself and to suffer as much to dull myself a bit. Because I can no longer carry the sorrows of the world. What can I do when I feel totally what other people are and feel? I live them, but no longer have the strength. I don't want to tell even myself certain things. She goes on, she says, I'm not going to speak of the God. He is my secret. The sun is shining today. The beach was full of a nice wind and a freedom. And I was on my own without needing anybody. It's hard because I need to share what I feel with you. The calm sea, but on the lookout and suspicious, as if a calm like that couldn't last. Something's always about to happen. The unforeseen, impoverished, and fatal fascinates me. Are you kidding me? That's so good. That's I'm telling you, this book has haunted me, I think. I read this on Marina Beach, and I did grow up with that whole, like, freedom with responsibility, ish, at Krishnamurti's school, but I don't know how else to explain it but read this aloud again. But we shall move on. But it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. And yeah, this is, I think all of this is what I read in Chennai. And it irked me in the most wonderful way. It, I don't know, beckoned me awake. She says, Now I know I'm alone. I and my freedom that I don't know how to use. Great responsibility of solitude. Whoever isn't lost doesn't know freedom and love it. As for me, I own up to my solitude that sometimes falls into ecstasy as before fireworks. I am alone and must live a certain intimate glory that in solitude can become pain. And the pain, silence. I keep its name secret. I need secrets in order to live. And I mean, my God. She says, I am finding myself. It's deadly because only death concludes me. But I bear it until the end. I'll tell you a secret. Life is deadly. I'll have to interrupt everything to tell you this. Life is the impossible and intangible. Death is just future to such an extent that there are those who cannot bear it and commit suicide. It's as if life said the following, and there simply was no following. It hurts. Sometimes it hurts to know that others have felt the same way I have, and that these feelings are relatable, because these things being relatable also means that there is no fix. There is no fix. There is no instant cure. There is no unique potion. I am not special. This is everyone's. This breath of mine is everyone's, and it can be strange. It's nice. The knocking is nice. When I'm feeling like, oh, there is no fix, everyone's feeling this shitty, it's nice, I guess, to find the comfort in it, the you're not alone in it. Yeah. Anyway, so I took a break from reading this here at the end of this page, and I returned to it after my mother had passed away. And again, it's haunting. I started page 78, and this is what I read. The illogicality of nature, what silence. God is such an enormous silence that it terrifies me. It takes courage to write what comes to me. You never know what could come up and scare you. The sacred monster died. In its place was born a girl who lost her mother. I am very well aware I'll have to stop. Not for a lack of words, but because those things, and especially those I only thought and didn't write, cannot be said. I'll speak of what is called the experience. It's the experience of asking for help and the help being given. Perhaps it was worth being born in order to one day implore mutely and mutely to receive. I asked for help, and it was not refused. I then felt like a tiger with a deadly arrow buried in its flesh, and who was slowly circling the fearful people to find out who would have the courage to come up and free it from its pain. And then there is the person who knows that a wounded tiger is only as dangerous as a child, and coming up to the beast, unafraid to touch it, pulls out the embedded arrow. And truly, I felt like a tiger with an arrow in its flesh and growling for people to come help. How dare you sit there? And I think a lot of people approached me the day after I lost my mom, the day after everyone realized I lost my mom, which means I've lost both my mom and my dad. And I think there was this, oh, she's at rock bottom. And when you're at rock bottom, you can be terrifying. It feels terrifying to be at rock bottom, but you are truly not afraid of anything anymore. And people approach you like a tiger, like a wounded tiger. And you need them. You need them. But it's scary. And it felt scary to be scary. And reading this is so... I don't know. I don't have the right word. I could say wonderful again, but it wasn't wonderful at all. It wasn't scary, because at this point I had realized I will like this book. But I don't know, it was just like I'm screaming and I'm shouting and I'm so mad at everything, and someone has come to give me a hug, and I don't know how to receive it. I just know that I needed it, but also I didn't expect it, and it's strange. And I think it ended with my new manifesto, I guess. She says, I revolt. I no longer want to be a person. Who has mercy on us? Who know about life and death, where an animal I envy profoundly is unconscious of its condition? Who takes pity on us? Are we abandoned? Given over to despair? No, there must be a possible consolation. I swear, there must be. What I don't have is the courage to say the truth that we know. These are forbidden words. She says, and I denounce our weakness. I denounce the maddening horror of dying. And I respond to all this infamy with exactly this that now will be written. And I respond to all this infamy with joy, pure and lightest joy. My only salvation is joy. Because it's too cruel to know that life is just one time, and that we have no guarantee outside our faith in shadows, because it's too cruel. So I respond with the purity of an untamable happiness. I refuse to be sad. Let us be joyful. She says, I am, despite everything, oh, despite everything, and being joyful in this instant, now that passes, if I don't capture it in words. I am being joyful in this very instant because I refuse to be defeated, so I love as an answer. I'm not going to die. You hear, God? I don't have the courage. You hear? Don't kill me, you hear? Because it's a disgrace to be born in order to die without knowing when or where. I'm going to stay happy, very happy. You hear? As a reply, as an insult, I guarantee one thing: we are not guilty. And I have to understand while I'm alive. You hear? Because afterwards, it will be too late.